So don't prove us wrong.
My earliest memory
Is of a headless chook running around the backyard.
at school I
Was very bad at spelling.
My first relationship was.
I would say was my first very best friend was my dog.
I don't like talking about.
Myself.
My mother always told me.
To be home for dinner.
I wish I had.
More self-control. Yeah.
I wish I had.
I wish I hadn't eaten that 10th Freddo frog the other day.
My most humiliating moment was.
Oh dear, there's been a few of those. Probably when I was about 9 or 10, getting my foot stuck in between two railings in a big public hall.
At home I cook.
Lots of stir fries and curries.
My last meal would be?
Roast lamb.
I'm very bad at.
Very bad at spelling, I know that much still.
When I was a child, I wanted to be.
Or either a zookeeper or a park ranger.
The book that changed my life was?
Well, the book by a guy called Gerald Durrell called A Zoo in My Luggage.
It's not fashionable, but...
I like corned beef.
Friends say I am.
Eccentric?
Someone played my funeral is.
Anything but Amazing Grace or I Did It My Way.
My greatest fear is
Probably something to do with pain, I would think, yes.
the last deep belly laugh I had was
I was telling some jokes with some friends on the weekend, yes.
What I don't feel amusing is.
People judging other people by the way they look,
I've always been asked about
how tall I am.
cat or dog and why.
Dog, definitely. Because they're loyal and they actually like you for who you are, not what they can get out of you.
My favourite work of art is.
Don't have one favourite. It would probably be something by Monet.
My worst job was.
Sitting in the sun all day, painting lids of 44-gallon drums.
I often wonder.
If there's life on other planets. Probably the one I can think of at the moment is some work I'm doing with a Tasmanian devil. I'm sure you all know what a Tasmanian devil's like. And you all probably think Tasmanian devils are cranky, nasty, vicious, horrible things. They're actually very shy. They're not terribly aggressive. They won't even bite you when you pick them up. They're really quite gentle in that sense. So when you're handling one of them, it's actually quite easy. You just pick them up. You don't have to worry about them biting you because they just don't. And in that sense, they're a lot easier to handle than some other animals that you might think are quite nice and friendly. Like little wallabies, for example. They're vicious and nasty. But Tasmanian devils, actually quite placid and calm. Always been interested in animals from a very young age. And so, yeah, it was just the opportunity to be able to pursue that interest and get paid for having fun, yeah, basically. At uni, I realised that you could actually do research and we didn't actually know a lot of things about animals. So that's what really got me excited and wanting to pursue a career as a scientist. Oh, that is very hard. I found a new species of wallaby once. That was really exciting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And I got to name it, and that was really exciting. Some of the projects I'd worked on has been running for a very long time. And as technology has changed, you've actually needed smaller and smaller samples. So back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, people would go out and shoot animals. That was sort of the standard way of collecting. That's now changed, so that you don't need to do that, and you don't particularly want to do that. So we can just catch animals and they donate a small piece of blood or something and then we can let them go.
What kind of equipment do you use?
We've got traps of all sorts of different sizes, from little tiny ones to quite big cage traps. Also use big nets, so sometimes you put up nets and try and run animals into those.
Do you use bait to get the animals in the trap?
A lot of animals in Australia will do anything for peanut butter. And so...
Smooth or crunchy?
They seem to like crunchy better. So you put a bit of peanut butter and often some fruit and other stuff in the trap, and yep, they will go in. In fact, sometimes they will squeeze in an animal that wouldn't think will fit into a particular trap. Will get itself in there just to get to the peanut butter. And some of them get to like it so much that you let them go, and about 30 seconds later they're in another trap. And you have to go and let them go again.
What kind of samples would you take?
Yep, we can usually take blood samples So we can take it's just a bit like going to the doctor, I suppose, and having blood sample taken, but we also take tissue samples because sometimes we're putting ear tags in animals, so essentially we pierce their ears for them, free of charge, put a little ear tag in there so that we can recognise them again, and then the little tiny bit of tissue that we get from punching a hole in their ear, piercing their ears for them, we can then take away and get the DNA out of it and use that. So to do something like that, you need to do lots of paperwork before you go anywhere and get permission from national parks people, get permission from an ethics committee. So they have to actually sit down and say, well, is what you're going to do ethical? You know, is there a better way of doing it? Is the animal going to suffer in any way? It takes a long time to work out what people don't know. One thing I will say is a lot of really old people have done a lot of work over many centuries, and you actually need to go back and look at a lot of that. And not all of that's on the internet, just as a little hint for some of you people.
Thank you very much.
That's all right.